So the Lakers didn't have the best game against the Portland Trail Blazers, but it was still a game in which they controlled pretty much start to finish. And to start the game, the energy was really there, right? They really elevated it. They really picked it up. They were getting after it on both sides of the basketball and really kind of just gave us the quarter that we had hoped that they would give us in the first throughout the course of this season. And then they got sloppy in the second quarter, sloppy in the third quarter. We're able to kind of manage that out and then closed it out in the fourth. And it's kind of funny because I've talked about, like, if I had to choose how the Lakers approach this, I would want them to be very good in the first, very good in the fourth, and then kind of just weather the storm through the second and third. And that's kind of what the Lakers did. But it's funny, like, whenever the Lakers play an in-season tournament game, you can see the level just intensify, at least to start the games, right? Like, they've been much better in the in-season tournament games than they have in any of the other games. Now, obviously, there's a little added incentive. There's a little bit of like, okay, well, we're trying to win that extra $500,000, trying to get that trophy. I do think the in-season tournament, winning it for the Lakers, may be really good for them, just to kind of build that just obviously chemistry, but also just put them in a position of confidence, right? And allow them to kind of, okay, we got this in-season tournament. We're good enough to win something. Let's go now, put the pieces to the puzzle, and win an NBA championship. That would be the goal. But I wanted to kind of break down where the Lakers are as far as the in-season tournament goes, because they're pretty much going to advance to the next round. So here is their group standing. So the Lakers are the only undefeated team in the standings at 3-0. Then you have the Utah Jazz, who they play next, and they're 2-1. If the Lakers beat Utah, then they don't have to worry about anything. They advance, right? Because that would put them as the only undefeated team. They'd be 4-0. And then obviously you have the Suns, the Blazers, and the Grizzlies. Grizzlies have been terrible. But if there was any sort of just tiebreaker, then the Lakers would still advance based on the points. So as you see the plus 42, Utah at a plus 19, Phoenix Suns are at a dead even, you got the Blazers at a minus 26, and the Grizzlies at a minus 35. So what that does and what that means is that's the point differential. And so when you look at the tiebreakers, that the Lakers have a plus 42, next closest would be Utah. So as long as the Lakers don't lose by like 40, or not that many, but as long as they don't lose by like 23 to 24 points against the Utah Jazz, then they would still, if it went to a tiebreaker, have the point differential. Now it also goes to head-to-head because they're going to play each of these teams twice and all that stuff. So there's still, we're not there yet, but basically as long as the Lakers beat Utah, then the Lakers are in good shape because they will have enough of a point differential. And if, let's say Utah beats them again next time, right? Well, then the head-to-head would be even, and then the Lakers would advance that. And you don't have to worry about the Blazers. You don't have to worry about the Grizzlies, right? So as long as the Lakers beat Utah, there is a very good chance that they are going to advance to the next round and avoid that wild card spot, which is what they want to do. They don't want to play in that wild card thing. They want to just advance, get ready, and then play whoever they're going to play. And just to show you basically the tiebreakers for like the group stages and stuff. So it goes head-to-head record and the group stage, as I mentioned. But if the Utah Jazz, let's say, and the Lakers finish 1-1, then they'd be good. Got to remember, the Lakers already beat the Suns, right? And they have a better point differential. They've just beaten Portland twice, beat Grizzlies. So the one team that's left would be Utah. As long as they win this game against Utah, then the Lakers would be in good shape because at worst they would tie head-to-head and they have the better point differential between Utah and the Lakers, which that is the next tiebreaker. So head-to-head, let's say tie, then it goes to point differential, which the Lakers have the highest point differential, and then it would go to total points, which, again, Lakers are in great shape there. And then lastly, it goes to prior season, regular season record. But again, that would be assuming that basically two of the teams are exactly even in every state way. I don't really necessarily see how it gets to a regular season record. But even then, if the Lakers only had to compete with Utah, the Lakers would be in good shape. So you look at the other brackets, right? Let's look at the other groups in the Western Conference. You have the Pelicans, who, again, right now are currently in first place because they have the highest point differential. You got the Pelicans and the Nuggets. They're both 2-1. And then the Pelicans have the higher point differential. Houston Rockets, the Clippers, and then the Mavericks. The Houston Rockets just lost to the Clippers. And then Dallas doesn't play for a while. So, again, Pelicans, the way it's shaping up, Pelicans may end up coming out of that group, which isn't crazy surprising, as Jamal Murray is out for the Nuggets. And it's something that I've talked about. Like, teams aren't going to... Like, teams are taking it serious, clearly, but teams aren't going to, risk injury or further injury for key players as if this was the playoffs, right? So, something to keep in mind. You look at the next group, Sacramento Kings and the Minnesota Timberwolves are currently both 2-2. Now, the Kings are a plus 16, so they're ahead by a hair, literally hair of their chinny chin chins. So, depending on how that goes, we will see which team comes out of there. Both of those teams, the Minnesota looks like the second best team in the Western Conference right now. They look ridiculous. And Sacramento seems to just have the Lakers number. So I don't know who I would rather have that to come out of this group, because again, like, both the Timberwolves and the Kings seem like they've just played better basketball than us, right? But granted, in-season tournament, would the Lakers kind of play up to the competition? I do think the Lakers can beat Sacramento. I know the Lakers have lost 2 straight to Sacramento, but I really do believe that if push came to shove, the Lakers could beat Sacramento. Minnesota, again, I believe the Lakers can beat Minnesota. I just think Minnesota would be a tougher matchup because of Rudy and Cat and Anthony Edwards. Unless we do have Jared Vanderbilt and then obviously Gabe Vincent. If we get Jared Vanderbilt and Gabe Vincent back, I think that would help tremendously, just because now you have 2 basically guards that can kind of, Vando's a forward, but you get my point. Like, 2 guys that you could throw at Anthony Edwards. And Jared Vanderbilt has done an excellent job against Anthony Edwards in those head-to-head matchups as far as the defenses go. But still, it's like this is the group that kind of makes me go, I don't really want to see either of those teams, to be honest. But regardless, look, the Lakers are looking good as far as the in-season tournament goes. If we're being honest, they had the easiest path, right? Like, they didn't have anybody that was like super going to be challenging or difficult other than the Phoenix Suns. And the Lakers have been able to handle Phoenix twice, not in the in-season tournament, but twice as far as this regular season. So it was just kind of one of those things when you were looking ahead. It was like, as long as the Lakers can beat Phoenix, they're going to win their group stage, which they should. Again, you still got to beat Utah, because if they don't beat Utah, things can kind of get a little tricky from there. But I fully believe that they will beat the Utah Jazz, and then we won't have to, it won't even be a concern, right? It won't even be a problem. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Time will tell. Because, I do believe that this in-season tournament would be very good for the Lakers, right? They've really struggled. The chemistry doesn't seem to really be there. They're not giving the effort that we need them to give. They look like a sloppy team. If we're being honest, they do not look anything close to a championship contending team, right? Like, if I had to pick anybody, it's definitely not the Lakers right now, right? Like, and again, I'm not saying they can't get there. I fully believe that eventually they're going to figure this thing out, and then push comes to shove. Once we get into the playoffs, the Lakers will be good. I still fully believe this team is more than capable of winning an NBA championship. Like, I don't have that doubt in my mind at all, but they haven't shown what the team that we all envisioned the capability is. We haven't seen them actually put that together. We've seen it in spots. We've seen it in moments. We've seen it in quarters, right? Like, they'll give us stretches that are brilliant, right? We'll get like a 3 to 4 minute stretch where the Lakers look like the best team in the league. I mean, they are absolute clamps defensively. They're rebounding the basketball. They're hitting shots. They're moving the basketball. They're sharing the basketball. And then the next 5 minutes, they look like the worst team in the league. Turning the ball over, back-to-back possessions. They're giving up all these offensive rebounds. They're giving up wide open shots. Nobody's hitting anything. And it's so weird how just night and day this team is. Basically, like in an individual game. I'm not even talking about game to game. I'm talking about in each game. It's like the Lakers will have like a quarter, like the fourth quarter, they're the best team in the league. It's crazy. Like, they're so good. And then you look at like the first and second quarter, and they're like the worst team in the league. I mean, in the first quarter, they literally are. They're the worst team in NBA history. So it's like you have a team that one quarter is literally the worst team in the league, and then you have the same team 3 quarters later that is the best in the league. It's just so bizarre. And I'm hoping that maybe, getting through this in-season tournament, especially if the Lakers can win it, I think it would be a real confidence booster. I think it would put them in a position of like, all right, like, look, see what we can do type thing. Now, let's go win that NBA championship, and in the first year be the first team to win both that and the NBA championship and kind of just set the tone. That's kind of my hope. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? Do you think the Lakers can win this tournament? Do you want the Lakers to win this tournament? Or do you think kind of like, it's not really that important? Obviously, I think we all want them to win it, but, like, what is the scale of, like, importance for you? Is this something that is extremely important, something that's not, it's not really, it doesn't matter either way, or is it something that's just like, who cares? Again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below.